Greetings YouTubers, well today we're looking at this 2006 GMC Envoy, and for quite some time I've had a little bit of a steering issue, but for now I've got all the stuff done in the front here. Got new ball joints, upper and lower control arms, and you can see that in another video if you do go to my playlist. Let you know what's been going on with that. But if I roll back here a couple of days, I want to show you this clip really quick. We were trying to tackle the problem of this right here, my little pinky. This is the steering wheel. Look at this. You can move it. And when you're driving, you hear the clunk, 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 clunk and all that. And you can see you can even hear it. And I thought it was up here, but if you just, when you're driving, that's a lot of play. So we thought we would have this fixed by I thought we could have it fixed just by ordering the upper steering shaft on this Envoy. We stuck this in here in the last video, and it didn't make a bit of difference, so I just put the old one back in. So that's what we're going to be trying to fix, and I think for the most part we've got everything down here in the lower part of the steering sector checked out okay. I actually put a set of vice grips on the steering right here on this shaft, and took a string and rolled it out the window and tied it to the steering wheel and kind of pulled on it like this to to turn that steering wheel a little bit, because there's no way I can get my hand up in there. And I had the vice grips on her nice and tight, and this did not turn, so that told me that this rack and pinion here that I was about to replace and thought it was bad because I had a little bit of play up here, left and right on the top of the shaft. The issue was up farther inside the cabin underneath the steering wheel. So this is like a couple days later. I'm now getting around to fixing this because I'm getting ready to put everything together on the front of the car and all that, and I wanted to make sure that I had this fixed first before I put this back together. But I actually started to take the steering wheel apart, but never really got that off. But I did get the airbag out. So in here, what I did, I put vice grips down here on the bottom of this here, on this shaft right there, and kind of clamped it on here like this, and I held this with my hand kind of like this. I'm gonna get my vice grips on there real quick. And by having my hands on the vice grips on the rod here, on the steering rod if you will, or the shaft, I can hold my hand here and take my other hand up here and do this. I still had to play, but the problem was down here, this was not turning. So I know somewhere up here we had an issue, and it turns out, I found out, right up here there is a little set screw, and I'm probably going to have to get my flashlight. If you can see, let me turn this steering wheel. There's a certain way you turn this. You can get to it. I think if I go to the right a little bit, you can see there's a little star bit screw. Probably still not going to see that, so I'm going to have to turn this probably even a little bit more here. It's going to make me work for it. Oh, you know what? I got to take the vice grips off. Duh. All right, so now I've got the steering wheel turned a little bit, probably toward the 2 or 3 o'clock position. If the camera focuses, you see right about there. See that little set screw? It is a star bit screw. There are 2 of those, one on one side. You slowly back the camera out. Turn this back around this way, and on the opposite side you have another one right about there. See that? And I believe the size of that, let me get the size here real quick, and that little screw that's down in there, little star bit, is a T25, so you got to have something kind of small. And when I went up here and checked it out, it's in there, it's nice and snug, so that is a T25. Now I can sit here and hold the steering wheel and hold vice grips down there, and I don't think you're going to be able to see it, but that whole thing is turning inside that shaft there, that little, in the far back behind it. I don't think you're going to be able to see it, but it's actually loose right there. See it moving? So what we're going to do is take our little tool here. We get this kind of set up, one-handed man here, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to tighten this down about a 1/4 of a turn on both sides and see what we get. Alright, so there's about a 1/4 of a turn. Now we're going to go back to the other side. Got to go back to the right, because I turned it to the right first and went left. Now we got to go back to the 2 o'clock position here. And that little screw is right there. Get my tool in there. I think you can kind of see it there. Alright, turn it a little bit more. Alright, let's see what we got. We'll play now. Hey, that's pretty good. Still feel just a little bit there. You can kind of hear it. So we'll just turn this another, maybe a quarter of a turn. Not quite, but we'll go like maybe 20 degrees on this one here. Alright. That's all we want there. And let's see if this is going to take care of our issue. Boy, it's starting to feel better already, but we'll test it here in a second. Alright, turn this a little bit more. Not much. Alright, let's turn it back to the center. Now let's see if we can play. Oh no, it's gone. I'll be daggone. Took care of it. I really had thought the rack and pinion was bad. But you see that little rubber piece in the far back? It's like a little white piece. See that? It's all turning together now. So those screws are some kind of adjustment screws for the tilt wheel. And right there, it's called a swivel point, I believe. And they put those little screws in there so you can adjust that. And it's on some kind of like a plastic swivel back in there. Behind there. I think you can see that. But that took care of the issue. So after all, it wasn't the steering shaft or anything. And now all I gotta do is put this back together. So hopefully this video will help you guys out, because I really thought there was something serious going on up here. But after a lot of research online and Googling, found out that's called a swivel point right there. So, because you got your little tilt wheel here, and this thing has to do this, and it does that right there, and that ball kind of does that. So, hey, all I got to do now is go ahead and put the boot back on out here. I need to grab my light again because it's getting dark. And put our boot back on. I had to unbolt that 15 millimeter nut there and slide that shaft up and slide the boot down over that into the rack and pinion. And I think we're going to be good. So let me go ahead and start putting all this back together, and we'll take it for a ride. But I can tell you right now, as you saw in that clip earlier, we're not getting any more play. I can't move this with one finger like I did earlier. See? The other, before you could, if you could move it, you'd hear click, 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 bang, bang. But not anymore. Yay! All right, so let me get this all back together, and hopefully we'll be good to go. We don't have to replace that rack and pinion like I thought maybe I had to after all. And this is pretty typical from my understand for Trailblazers and GMC Envoys. This is a pretty common problem. So before you go replacing all your string shafts, thinking maybe it's your rack and pinion, check that little bolt up here. And all you got to do is take off the cover here, pop this off. And there's a lot of videos on YouTube on how to do that. You don't have to take the airbag out. So let me go ahead and wrap this thing up here, and we'll take it for a ride and see if we have any more clunkety clunk 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 clunk. Alright, so it looks like everything is okay. That took care of the steering. It's nice and tight. So check those little bolts out up here on this column. That could be giving you the problem before you do anything major. Check that first. But other than that, it's pretty good. I don't have that noise no more. And the steering feels really good. So thanks for watching. Until my next video, guys, I'll see you later.